Mariner Books and Harper Audio present Ministry of Truth, Democracy, Reality, and the Republicans' War on the Recent Past by Steve Benen. Read by Rachel Maddow. One note before we begin. Don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider. You will want that because it contains graphs from the book, and Steve is great with graphs. For my friends, Michael and Zoe, who hopefully know why. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. George Orwell, 1984. Introduction. With time, people forget. The Republican Party's war on the recent past. People in positions of authority have tried to rewrite history to suit their purposes for as long as historical records have existed. This is especially true in authoritarian regimes, which have long seen history as a malleable propaganda tool. The pattern has become tragically familiar. Dictatorial powers have used their editing pens to create myths, justify decisions, erase opponents, and even dispose of crimes. As modern Republican politics becomes increasingly radicalized, it's not too surprising to see the party read from a similarly despotic script. Indeed, the party has invested a considerable amount of time and effort into rewriting the parts of American history that fail to suit its purposes. Textbooks and historical details have become key elements of the GOP's culture war crusade, as assorted partisans take aim at the events of decades and centuries ago as part of an unsettling and nationalistic attempt at historical revisionism. What's less appreciated is the fact that those are not the only stories from our collective history that the party has been desperate to rewrite. Just as important as Republicans targeting events from generations past is the GOP's war on the recent past, as the party wages frantic gaslighting campaigns to rewrite the stories that have unfolded over the last several years, molding the developments into unrecognizable new accounts. With unnerving frequency, the contemporary Republican Party sees the recent past as an enemy to be overpowered, crushed, and conquered. It's an effort predicated on the assumption that our memories can be bullied into submission, forced to give way to manufactured stories the GOP prefers. To see such authoritarian tactics in American democracy as anything less than dangerous would be a mistake. The more Republicans take aim at the public's understanding of recent events, the more dramatic the impact on everything from the public discourse to policymaking to the integrity of democracy itself. On the surface, such mendacious campaigns have the appearance of typical, albeit brazen, dishonesty, but just below the surface, a more noxious strategy comes into focus. Leading GOP voices aren't just lying. They're also manufacturing narratives, hoping to replace accurate stories the party finds inconvenient or embarrassing or both. What's more, many of the routine political lies that dot our landscape are not always immediately obvious. They become evident only after the fact, by way of fact-checking analysis. The war on the recent past, however, asks people to ignore what they already saw, learned, and experienced, replacing their own memories with malign myths. The motivations behind such campaigns are hardly subtle. The more recent events can be altered to fit a political agenda, the easier it becomes to present failures as triumphs and fiction as fact. What's more, scandals and investigations can be made to disappear just as soon as a party agrees to tell its supporters that it's been exonerated, even when the opposite is true. This campaign of rewriting recent history is built on a foundation of pernicious pillars. The first is a wholesale indifference toward reality. If a skirmish in this conflict is going to succeed,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?